I've not heard the phrase systems biology before. So let's spend a little time there. Well, what does that actually mean?
It's understanding how the systems of the body all interconnect and interrelate. Nothing operates in isolation. So in medicine, because of the complexity of the human body, we have to somewhat compartmentalize different parts or systems into their own respective fields because there's so much to learn about it. But
Mm.
by doing that, you kind of almost miss the way things interrelate and interconnect. There's the definition of a specialist, somebody that knows more and more about less and less until they know everything about nothing. And that's not quite fair, but it's kind of like that. When you've got, you know, maybe a gut problem, you go and see the gastroenterologist. When you have a joint problem, you might see the orthopedist. If you have a foot problem, it's a podiatrist. If you have a brain problem, it's a neurologist, and so on. So there's a siloing of medicine. And by doing so, they often miss the kind of interconnected relationships. And I think systems biology thinking is about understanding how everything works in a network, a web-like interaction where you know pull on one thing and everything else has to respond, like a tensegrity model, almost like putting on a spider web. Everything's kind of moving together. And in functional medicine and in osteopathy, we're really trying to understand how everything interconnects and interrelates. The body as a unit is one of the principles of osteopathy. Everything is connected. So if somebody has a problem in one area, the question is why and where's that coming from? Oftentimes the area of complaint is a symptom or a compensation for something else going on in the system. And a systems approach steps back, looks at the big picture, and tries to understand where it's all coming from.
Nice.
That's one way to think about it.
Yeah, no, that's fascinating. It strikes me weirdly, as someone who spends a bit of time thinking about modern government and what's going on and why we've been told this or told that, and the idea of like centrally planned economies. Someone saying, "Okay, we're going to set the price of this at that," without any thinking as to the side effects of what that might mean.
Mm.
And just one example that comes to mind is you might remember there was a brand called Tom's Shoes,
Mm.
and they were sourced in South America. And you buy a pair on the streets of London, and someone would get a free pair of shoes in wherever they were made. And it was sold as this amazingly altruistic product. But the impact of that was that it completely decimated the shoe industry in the place where people could suddenly get them for free,
Yeah.
and people lost companies and lost the wherewithal to actually make shoes. And so intervention in itself isn't always the right option.
Not at all.
That's just another way of kind of looking at it. It's like,
Yeah.
that's kind of like that,
Yeah.
isn't it?
It made me think of well, first of all, I think it is it's a undeniable truth or law or principle of nature.
Mm.
It made me think of the like the food chain or the like biosystems.
Yeah,
in
everyone has a
nature.
predator in a sense.
That's right. Yeah, and you take one piece of the puzzle out, and everything falls apart.
Mm.
So it really requires a more broad understanding of how these relationships work.